Hello everyone, this is ManyNinjas speaking. Welcome to the third part of a currently unknown number of videos that are going to be dedicated to my collection as of late June 2015. In this case, this next part is going to be all about my Super Famicom and Super Nintendo collection, which due to the sheer amount of games I happen to have, I'm going to try to keep the descriptions fairly brief in terms of the actual games themselves, unless I happen to have something particularly funny or interesting to say about a certain title. For my box games here right now, most of them got picked up in the same way back during a few years back when things were still relatively cheap, can be found easily within my area in thrift stores of all places. Unfortunately, at this point, people have kind of gone wise to what used to pop up in the local area, so now not only have prices increased within the thrift stores themselves, they've just generally become more scarce as people have shown up earlier and earlier to pick off anything that can come up. So, in this case, let's start off from the top. Not necessarily the normal box games per se, but first things up will be a copy of Super Castlevania. Unfortunately, I'm still looking for the actual box for it itself, but I did manage to find the actual game and manual itself for a generally fair price. Pardon the glare, I just remembered how shiny this case would be. So generally, that was found for a decent price, can't argue. This next one found at a event of some sort. Guru Densetsu Special, aka Fatal Fury Special. My only Super Famicom box game so far. Starting off at the top of the pile, we have Dragon's Lair, Final Fight 2, Mega Man Soccer. This is actually picked up from an auction and not a thrift store buy in this case. Mega Man X2, Mortal Kombat Competition Edition, aka it's a censored version. Not that there wasn't a censored version for the first game. Mortal Kombat 2. Alright, moving 1 second, carefully shifting this to next so I can go to the next pile. Out of This World. It's like adjusting my hands. Saturday Night Slam Masters. I do have this in box. Unfortunately, I still need a manual for this game. Super Bowling. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I actually also need a manual for this game, and just as a funny story, I actually got the box for this before I even picked up the game. I just got it, I believe, as a random thing from a local shop. Buy mine, sell yours off the top of my head. Super Street Fighter 2. Honestly, one of my favorite fighting games, especially from the Super Nintendo era. Alright, well, as a quick look at the box games, in a second I'm going to transition over to the first of at least 2 boxes for the Super Nintendo end, which afterwards we'll be looking at the Super Famicom end of things. Pardon the less than impressive transition box here. I'm basically just using the lid here as a security thing to keep stuff from spilling over, but just to put into context, here's another one of my IKEA boxes, in this case a slightly larger one that I use for some Super Nintendo games. This is just one of 2, and quite frankly, I couldn't actually close this one, as it has what could fit in the box, plus some overflow. So you're going to see me transitioning a few times to get to the second layer, because there's a second layer of carts that can fit underneath here. Alright, starting off from the top, quite literally. Pardon the fact this is not in alphabetical order, this is basically kind of in the order I get things. WWF Royal Rumble. Let's see if I can stack this up properly. Donkey Kong Country. Recently picked up this one. Mortal Kombat 3. Label's a little beat up, but quite frankly the price was still decent enough. Makes it worthwhile. NHLPA Hockey. Well, NHLPA Hockey 93 to be exact there. Batman Returns. I don't know why this game exists. Mr. Do, a remake of the arcade title. Mario Paint. Bought this one along with the mouse to go with it. Unfortunately, just missing the mouse pad, but that's not a huge thing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. NHL Quarterback Club 96. Super Tennis. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Ninja Warriors. Kind of an expensive title to get a hold of, just to mention. Pilot Wings. Super Double Dragon. this one, classic. Street Fighter 2. Got one? Let's get that in place. Here's another classic. Super Punch-Out. Final Fight. And the label's a little beat up on it, but this is indeed a copy of Final Fight 3. Alright, pardon the transition. I need to go get this part clear so I can go to the next part of the box. Alright, moving to the bottom of the first box here. 1 second, I got everything on this section backwards, so let me flip the box over. First game up, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It really is hard to aim with this thing and look at the visor at the same time, make sure I have everything in shot. Kirby's Avalanche, otherwise known as basically a reskinned Puyo Puyo game. I believe it is Super Puyo Puyo in this case. Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Can't go wrong with that game. Super Star Wars. Super Empire Strikes Back. Can you guess what the next game is? Super Return of the Jedi. Excellent trilogy. The games are hard though. Wings 2 Aces High. Funny story about this particular game. Part of the reason I actually have it, it's not a very good game, is that back in the day when a show called Video and Arcade Top 10 existed, Carlos was on that show and that was the game he played on it. He actually won that show too. Beat up label, but Wild Guns for the Super Nintendo. Don't bother looking on eBay, the price is very ugly at this point. Thankfully, because of the label damage and everything, I bought that one cheap. I don't want to imagine the price these days. Super Mario Kart. Can't go wrong with that game either. Super Mario All-Stars. This is the original version, not the part that had, or the one that had Super Mario World added on. That was a later game, or later revision. Speaking of which, Super Mario World. Okay, now the camera's back in focus. Alright, that's the top of box number 1. To put in context, more games there, and I have other games that I had to put on the side because they couldn't fit in that lid either. Alright, excuse me a minute as I put this box back into place and go for box number 2 of the North American set. Alright, moving on to box number 2 of the North American set of stuff. Once again, not exactly in order, just because I keep getting stuff too often to really organize it. I need to fix that later. Alright, starting off, Marvel Superheroes in War of the Gems, aka a sequel to X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. UN Squadron. Label's a little beat up, but still, overall, the game itself works, that's the most important part. F-Zero. Star Fox. One second, moving on to the next part. Tetris and Super Mario. Donkey Kong Country 2. Make sure I get these things in shot. One second, I'll just adjust. I don't remember how to pronounce the name of it. Wiley Country Club? If anyone knows how to actually pronounce that, drop that in the comments. I am actually quite interested. Alright. Super Bomberman, with a bit of a label I need to remove on clean that thing. Battletoads Double Dragon. The original one, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. These are one of my favorite to play beat-em-ups. Another one, especially that comes from the line of Marvel things. Captain America and the Avengers. Fun little arcade base game. Can't go wrong with that one. ActRaiser. Getting back in focus. Cybernator. Super Battle Tank. War in the Gulf. Secret of Mana. I believe this particular copy was sent in to me a while back by Beatrice. 1 second, I have to carefully navigate these cards now. NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Mega Man X. I better look at these ones in this box just to be the safe side. It's getting kind of full over there. Mega Man X3. I believe this copy was actually a Christmas present. for my brother off the top of my head. Let's try to get that stack back there a little nicer. Yeah, so much for that. Mega Man 7. The sad part, this is not my original copy of the game. I used to have a copy I picked up from a Jumbo Video, actually, with a manual back in the day. I think it got sold in a garage sale at some point. RoboCop 3. Battletoads in Battle Maniacs. Why do I have so many Battletoads games? I don't know. The funny part, I don't own the original. Killer Instinct. Super Nintendo. And that covers the loose carts I have for the North American system. Of course, just look, I do have the rest of the games off to the side there, because I have too many to really hold on this table here. Moving on in a moment, we're actually going to go to my Super Famicom games, which I'm definitely going to need the table space and some lids for, because you can't really show off the labels without taking everything out of the box. Be back in a moment. Alright, we got both of my Super Famicom boxes out here. And as you can probably guess from the top here, it's no less full than the first box. This is for the North American stuff. So let's see. Once again, I should mention I really don't speak Japanese, so I apologize if I'm butchering any of the names here, and I'm trying to remember them as best as possible. Alright, starting off, we have Super Puyo Puyo 2, World Heroes 2, basically one of the Ranma half games, which is actually, that one in particular is the fighting game of the bunch that I'm personally aware of. Super Bomberman Panic Bomber W. Oddly enough, another copy, or in this case a Super Famicom version of Battletoads and Battle Maniacs. Street Fighter 2. Super Street Fighter 2. Stacking these things this way always makes me nervous. Second Densetsu 3, otherwise known as the sequel to Secret of Mana. One of my actual favorite RPGs of the era. Rockman 2, or Rockman X2 to be exact. Signed copy of Rockman and Fort, signed by Hitoshi Ariga, who is actually the artist for the cover of the game, as well as worked on, I believe, well, I'm not sure for this particular title, but I believe also a dot artist for several games around here, including the Streets of Rage series. Alright, let's do it. Assault Suit Vulcan, otherwise known as Cybernator for those more familiar with the North American game. Contra Spirits, aka Contra 3. Dragon Ball Z Hyperdimension, one of the best fighting games for this particular series. Fortunately, didn't make a way over. Damn it, I'm trying to remember the Japanese game name for this, but basically it's one of the Kodokan volleyball titles at the time. Second, I'm trying to make sure I'm not skipping any. Alright. Super Budokan 1, Super Budokan 2, and Super Budokan 3. For anyone who's especially played stuff from that era, it's by far incredibly familiar to everyone. Super Puyo Puyo. We got it as Kirby's Avalanche. Final Fight 2. Reason I have this was, one, it was found in a thrift store of all places, weirdly enough, and for cheap, and quite frankly, the Super Famicom ones are the uncensored versions of the game. Super Gradius 3. I think I paid all the $5 for that. Hagane. For those not too familiar with it, try looking up Hagane the Final Conflict on eBay. Better yet, don't. Depressingly expensive. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Otherwise known as, well, the same name over here. But quite frankly, it was nice to pick up the Japanese copy just because it was generally nice. I actually had a copy I found in a, I believe it was in a, yeah, it was probably the same thrift store I found most of the stuff in at the time while it was still cheap. Got rid of that copy for some reason or another. Ended up picking up another copy just because I did enjoy the game. Alright, moving on to the next box. Alright, moving on to the next box. Starting from the top, quite literally. Gokujo Paradise. Taiketsu Brass Numbers. Haven't played too much of it, but basically, to sum it up, it's not a very good fighting game. Amazing enough, another copy of Super Puyo Puyo. I need to get that to the people I was supposed to get that to. I need to fix that sooner rather than later. Alright. Hard to orient this properly. Guru Densetsu 2. Look at this. Focus, focus. Come on now. Super R-Type. It's a little hard to tell sometimes if the shot's in focus, just because the screen is a little iffy. Super Bomberman 4. The card itself is a little beat up, but Godzilla Daikessen, I believe. It's basically the Godzilla Super Nintendo fighting game that was advertised in Nintendo Power, but never actually got here. Sonic Blast Band. It's a beat-em-up game, but honestly the second one is better of that series. Sailor Moon R. The Mega Drive game that came out technically after that, based on the first series, is definitely better than that one. Alright, give me a second, I just need to orient this to a way where I can see the label a lot better. Kirby Super Deluxe, aka Kirby Superstar. Rushing Beat. Milfin Stories. I still don't remember if that's the exact name of it, but it's a curious, kind of odd beat-em-up game. Magic Sword, port of the arcade title of the same name. To be honest, I don't remember the name of this one. It's part of the Puyo Puyo series, but it's a kind of a more limited puzzle game, but I just can't remember the name of it right now. I'll hopefully remember to put that as a note or annotation later down the line. Raiden Daisetsu, or Raiden Densetsu, my mistake. Final Fight. Basically the same reason before. I picked it up because I just came across it for cheap, and I wanted the uncensored version. The Ninja Warriors again. Why yes, I do own two of the same really overpriced game at this point. For completion's sake. It's also uncensored, I should mention. Super Bomberman 3. I am forgetting the Japanese name for the Art of Fighting series. I can't remember it right now. But basically, it's Art of Fighting for the Super Nintendo. Thunder Spirits. Yeah, interesting little shoot 'em up. And Return of Double Dragon. You've definitely seen me play this once or twice on the channel. Alright. And not counting a single random multi-card bootleg Super Famicom game I have lying around somewhere. That's my Super Nintendo and Super Famicom games in a nutshell. And I believe, where am I going from here? I suppose I could go for a few more random import stuff, or actually no, I will continue with Nintendo games, and we're actually going to take a look at more of my handheld games, including which is a reminder that I need to go pick up that one loose Game Boy card of Battletoads, I believe, from my brother who has it right now, was using it to test something. So I believe that's everything that comes to mind. If you happen to have any good suggestions and preferably affordable places to get them for certain Super Nintendo and especially Super Famicom games, as you can see, I do enjoy collecting them since, quite frankly, for those that are unaware, the only thing that keeps you from playing them on a North American system are a set of little tabs that can be found at the back of Super Nintendo games, or the back of the Super Nintendo system, that can easily be clipped out. And that's all your region protection for 90% of your games. So if you have any good suggestions for Super Nintendo and especially Super Famicom games that I don't already have here, please do drop a line and I will definitely take a look and see if I can come across them. Next time we'll be going with handheld games, particularly the Game Boy series, and work our way out from there depending on how quickly I get through those. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. And especially comment. I really do enjoy reading the comments as they come in, and I will respond to them when time is permitting. So everyone take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend.